Hi, my name is Blethen from Walker Scott, and in this series we've covered a wide range of look and feel and navigation within D365 Finance and Operations. In this session, I'll be covering views. It should be noted I'm using a standard Microsoft D365 environment with Microsoft's Contoso demo data. Let's jump right in. Now, views are a fantastic way to show and display different information within D365 Finance and Operations. It can improve data entry as well as add additional information that are not available with the standard views. I'm going to navigate now to the accounts receivable all customers, and I've got that saved in my favorites. And what you'll see is by default, we have Microsoft's standard view of this particular form. Now, on most forms in D365, you will see this standard view. Now, that can be within journals, it can be within master records, it can be within other documents like sales orders, purchase orders. You will see the standard view. Now, wherever you see the standard view, you can personalize your experience and bring in additional fields or hide fields that you don't need, and that view will be available to you as a user. So we've covered personalization in a separate session. Now we're going to cover how to manage the views. So to create a view is very simple. Anytime you're editing the standard view, and that can be as simple as hiding fields. So I'm going to quickly hide a couple of these columns. Hide this. Anytime you hide or apply filters, so for example, if I apply a filter to this customer group of say 30, anytime you apply a filter or hide any views, you'll get the star icon for standard view. Now I'm going to deliberately clear that for the time being, and this is simply a simplified version without those fields that didn't have any data. You can still see that there are unsaved changes. So to create a new view is very simple. You click on the drop down for standard view, and what you'll see is there's no save button because I haven't saved that view yet. What you'll also notice is that I have some different views that are available. If I want to create this view, I simply click Save As, and I can give it a name. So I can call this Blethen Simple View. Now, I can also give it a deeper description, and I can pin it as my default view, but for now I'm going to leave it as blank. You'll also notice that you can apply this to all legal entities or only a specific legal entities. I'm just going to leave it as all and then click Save. Now you'll see I have my Blethen Simple View. Now this view is only currently available to me, and we'll talk about how you can share these and publish these later and in a separate session with system administrators. Now, whenever I come back to the All Customers screen, if I click on Modules, Accounts Receivable, All Customers, by default, my default view is the standard view currently. I can, however, toggle between my different views and click on Blethen Simple View now that it has been saved. Now what we're going to do is modify this view. So as I mentioned, anytime you apply a filter, it is going to come up with a star. So even though this is just a filter, my view has changed. So I can now either save this as a different view. So I can say and call this customer group 30. And again, I'm not going to pin it as my default. I'll click save. And what you'll see is I have now an additional view where I have Blethen Simple View, which is the unfiltered version. And I have a customer group 30, which is that same simple view, but filtered on customer group 30. So you can build up quite a comprehensive list of views. And these views currently, as I mentioned, only apply to me as an individual. If I make a mistake, I can remove the filters and I can start again, or I can simply go to the standard view and start completely from scratch. Now, if I go to Blend in Simple View, if I want to make some changes, but I don't want to create a brand new view, I just want to update this existing view, I can simply insert a new column, for example, and we have covered basic personalization in a separate session, but I'm just going to quickly bring in a credit limit. Click apply, and let's click on the credit limit field and update. So I've made a change, and as you can see, because I've made a change, I've got that star symbol again. So I have the option of, I don't have to save it as a new view, I can simply override or save changes to my current view. So when I hit save, now if I come out and go back to all customers and go to my simple Blend view, you'll see that I have that credit limit has been saved on the view. The next example we're going to show now is how to change your default view. So as I mentioned earlier, if I first navigate to all customers, my current default view is the standard Microsoft view. Now, if this is something that I'm constantly changing to my personal view, so maybe I want my Blend in Simple view, then I can simply click on my Blend in Simple view, and from here, what we can do is click on the triple dots and I can pin as default. So when I pin it as my default, if I now click on the drop down, you will see that I have this little pin icon as the default view for Blend in Simple view. So what this means is when I now come back into all customers, by default, it now picks up Blend in Simple view, and I can toggle back to the standard view to get back to the Microsoft standard view. If I want to change the pinned default, so maybe I made a mistake, so I'm now back on the standard view, I can choose to pin that as my default. Now we're going to talk about how to manage your personal views, and there's a lot of features available in managing your personal views. So from here, you can see I've got a number of views now here. Now I can click on the triple dots and I can manage my views. Now what you can see is I have a series of views here. What you'll notice is that we have the type Microsoft, which is, as I mentioned, is the standard out of the box. I then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 personal views, and I also have one view that's being published to me. So wherever you see the published to me, it means that your organization has published a view to you. So from here, there's a few things that you can do. So I have this draft Walker Scott finance view. I can simply choose to delete that view. I can also, if I want to rename them, so maybe I don't like the name of this, I can simply come up with group 30 and click save. And you can also move them up. So perhaps Blend in Simple view, I want that to be at the top. I simply click up and you can see it's now at the very top of the list when I click on the drop down. What you can also do is click on a particular view and you can choose to pin it as the default. So even though I've got Blend in Simple view at the top, I may choose to have credit limit and hold status as my default view. So I'm going to click pin as default for all legal entities, click on yes, and that has now been updated. One thing you'll also notice, besides renaming, you can publish the views. Now, we recommend this is a system administration task, and we'll cover that in a separate session because it can also be done in a different way under the system administration module. What you'll also notice is there's an organization views. Now, from here, you can see what views have been published from the organization. Now, in my views, I have a credit team view that's been published to me because I belong to a security role that this has been published to. If I look at the organization views, there's also another view, which is Walker Scott's finance view, that I don't currently have. So what you can do is you can save that as a personal. So from here, I can see save as personal. It's now created draft Walker Scott finance view. And if I look at my views, I now have a draft Walker Scott finance view. And this currently is a personal view because I've chosen to copy that view from the organization and personalize it myself. And from there, I can rename it. I could call this finance 11, save, click on update. And if I now click on the drop down list, I have a finance 11. And from there, I can add my own changes, my own filters, and I can save those filters. Or I can create another save as, and you can keep building up on your views. So no matter where you are in Dynamics, whether you're in a journal, whether you're in a purchase order, whether you're in a grid list or a master file record, wherever you see the standard view, if you have made any sorting or filtering changes, you can apply different views. So in summary, I've shown how we can create views, how we can modify and save additional views. I've also shown how we can change the default view from the standard Microsoft view. And I've also shown how, as an individual, you can manage your personal views as well. Thank you.